Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Afrobeat Live Fan Zone in collaboration with Pitch Points. And today, we're going to talk about the Champions League coming up this week. It's been an interesting weekend, lots of games that have affected both the top of the league and the bottom of the league and Champions League spots. But I have with me here some special people. No one more special than Yannicka. It's Yan City. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you.
I admire her a lot because I love the views. Not only is she smart, she's beautiful. She has great opinions. It's just a joy to listen to. And I watch your shows on Twitter every almost whenever you're live with Rose and what's the other Sarcasm City, the guy?
Flawless.
I like him a lot. So welcome on board and thanks for gracing us with your presence. It's a pleasure to be here. Also have with me again my co-host and brother in arms. We do a lot together, shows, sports. We travel. Went to the World Cup together. We've gone to Nigeria. We've known each other for what, decades. Mr. Ty is a massive Chelsea fan.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. And Yannicka, nice meeting you. Kyle, nice to have you back. I know it's going to be fun and exciting tonight. So I'm ready. I'm going with the old school Chelsea jersey, back in the Adidas days.
Absolutely. And then one more time, we're having Kyle, a young man from Everton who has great opinions of football, loves the game like we all do. And I told him last week, I said Everton were going to win at Liverpool. He didn't believe me. He was a little scared. But Kyle, are you happy?
Absolutely over the moon. I would have loved to beat you as well. But I think it's typical Everton, innit? We beat Liverpool, we put in a good shift against City and then we got turned over, lost both halves against Fulham. Typical Everton, that isn't it?
I thought it was a good performance though. I mean, anybody else want to talk about the performance, the Everton performance? I thought it was great.
Yeah, my throat's a bit sore from it, like.
How many years is it? 20? How many years is it now since you guys won that?
21 years. 22 years since we last beat them at Anfield.
Jeez, my God. And Yannicka, for City, it's been how many years since we last beat them at Anfield?
Oh God, was 18? I think 18 years. 2003, I think, with Anelka. That's the last time we won there. So
been about 3 weeks, hasn't it? Because you smashed them the other day, didn't you?
Yeah, no. Yeah.
So maybe it's Chelsea's turn next. You guys play them in a couple of weeks, Ty?
Yes. We're looking forward to it. It could happen. Van Dijk is out, so we're good.
And then this weekend again, Everton, the Arsenal game for City. I thought that was good, a good performance. A little boring, if I may say so, but we'll take the win. We'll take the 3 points, and we'll kind of move on from that game. Let's talk about Champions League. So this week, Tuesday, we have two big games. We have Atleti and Chelsea versus Chelsea, which let me share my screen, which is going to be a really massive game. Is this the biggest, toughest game of all the ones that are remaining, the Chelsea versus Atleti game? Ty, what do you think?
In my opinion, yes. It's a big team because you don't know what to expect from these two teams. As a Chelsea fan, honestly, I still don't know what to expect from our guys. We haven't clicked yet, especially going forward. And defensively, I feel like since Tuchel came in, we haven't really been tested. Atletico was looking really, really good until last week. So now I don't know what to really expect. And they're gonna play Suarez. So and he's used to the English teams and playing in England all those years. So it's gonna be a good game. I'm definitely gonna watch. Even if I wasn't a Chelsea fan, it will be a game that I will still watch.
I think the last time you guys played Atleti, you guys beat them in Spain, if I remember correctly, about 2 or 3 years ago.
So that's anything can happen,
Yeah. Yannicka, did you watch the game, the Chelsea game? Did you watch it? The Chelsea versus was it who did you guys play? Southampton. Did you watch that game?
Bits of it. I didn't watch the whole game, but yeah, I saw about 50 minutes of it, maybe.
Did you see when they took out Joe Callaghan-Odoi? What did you think about that? Bringing him on at halftime and taking him off.
Do you know what? Other managers have done it before. Like apparently, what's he called? Mancini did it with Robinho. It has been done. Leroy Sané, it's happened to before.
Ferguson did it with Moise Keane. Took him off after 9 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mourinho has also done it before. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Yannicka.
No, I was just going to say, like, has happened before, but it's just one of them things where for the player it must be embarrassing. Like I know when it happened to Leroy Sané a few months ago, people were saying like, "Oh, was he made the wrong decision about going to Bayern?" Because it's like could he get taken off?
Right.
But yeah, I don't think he looked very happy when he got subbed off. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see if Tuchel favours him or not, or whether it was just he saw something tactically that needed changing and thought, let me just take him off. But I think it's a little bit harsh because you don't give them enough time to get into the game and then you're taking them off. Whereas there's other players on that pitch for Chelsea that weren't doing much. It's not like everyone was playing well apart from him. There was other players that could have come off. So I think it's a bit harsh.
Which kind of leads me to my next question. And this is, Ty, I'll give you the Chelsea angle. Then, Carl, you can talk about the Atleti angle. Ty, what formation does Thomas Tuchel play on Tuesday against Atletico? Knowing how Atleti set up, right, with a counter-attack in transition, what does he do? What's the best formation?
He has to stick to 3-5-2. You know, he has to put the 3 in the back because that's all he's worked on since he's been there. You know, you just can't change the formation if you haven't really had time to really work on something else against a top team like Atletico. Again, like I said, they're gonna play Suarez, who understands them. The defense is looking good, but I just feel like, again, I'm gonna say it again. I feel like we haven't really been tested. The defense haven't really been tested. I want to touch on that little Odoi situation real quick. I know a lot of people think it's a big deal. I personally don't think it's a big deal. It all depends on how he handles it and how Odoi handles it. I feel like he might have given him a specific instructions, put him in the game. He didn't follow that specific instructions, and he wanted to prove a point to him and everybody else. Like, listen, I'm in charge. When I give you a specific instruction, I need you to execute it. If you don't understand it, let me know. Now, with that being said, the best way for him to resolve this would I be for him to have a conversation with him after that game and possibly start him the next game. That way, he's no longer a big deal. So I don't think it's a big deal. That's just my own opinion about it. So going back to your question, you got to stick with your formation, period.
Yeah. Carl, Atleti, how does Atleti approach this game based on their form and the players they have? Joao Felix, Luis Suarez, Marcos Llorente.
That's what I've put in as one of the key points. I said that Atletico have won 3 in the last 6. The top scorer is Luis Suarez with 16 goals. And it's beyond me why Barcelona let him go, because I still think he's one of the best strikers on the planet. And I said that Llorente, with his versatility, he can play as a number 8, he can play as a number 6, he can even play on the wing, which he's done. And I've said the resurgence of Joao Felix. You know, we had a very tough start to Atletico last year. And he scored 9 goals this year. He's been very versatile, played on the wing, played as a number 9, played just behind Suarez. But I think, you know, you look at the cons of Atletico, it's a very negative system, isn't it? It's very defensive at times. And I think for the neutral, it's not as exciting as a Man City or as a Bayern Munich or an Atalanta, is it? But, you know, I've said for another con is they're starting to kind of bottle the league a little bit. Real Madrid are really starting to track back, where at Christmas time, January time, it looked like Atletico were starting to walk away with it. But, you know, 3 wins in the last 6 is really poor. But one thing that could hurt Tuchel is that Tuchel loves to play these passes. He loves to just pass. You know, they've had an average possession, I think, of 59% or more in Tuchel's time at Chelsea, which if you're playing against a defensive system, they're going to allow you to have all of the ball. They don't care. But he can play a 3-5-2 with Suarez and Joao Felix operating as the strikers. They can play a 4-4-2. Or they can play a 3-4-2-1, which is what they played in their last game, which was a 2-0 loss to Levante, where they played, obviously, Oblak, the 3 centre-backs, Llorente on the wing with Kondogbia and Koke, Saul, I think, out on the wide, Correa and Joao Felix, and then Luis Suarez. So the formation, the system is very versatile. For me, it's a good game, isn't it? But I think Bayern Munich, Atletico really have to go through the wide areas of Chelsea, because I think Tuchel favours Marcos Alonso, what we've seen. You know, we really like to see Marcos Alonso. So not a lot of pace on the wings. And Joao Felix is very good. He's very good at cutting in and causing problems. And that could be a key to Atletico's win against Chelsea.
Yannicka, so Atleti versus Chelsea is a massive game. right? And whoever wins that tie goes to the next round. Who would you rather City play, Atleti or Chelsea, and why?
Oh God, I wouldn't want to face Atletico Madrid. I think they're a great side. So based on that, I'd probably rather play Chelsea. But yeah, if City are to go on and win it this year, it could be that Chelsea do us a favour by knocking them out. So yeah, even though it's
English clubs. Yeah.
I don't really want to play an English club because I don't like English clubs in the Champions League. It's like the Champions League is about playing your Bayern Munich, your Madrid. It's like, don't really want to face Chelsea. I think City are more likely to beat Chelsea than they are Atletico. That being said, City don't seem to struggle in the big games. It's the teams that you think, City should beat them, that City struggle against, and the ones that you think, we'll never beat them. Like Madrid last season, everyone was like, City are out. They're not going to beat Real Madrid. We beat them home and away quite easily. But then it comes to the smaller teams on paper, like your Tottenhams, Lyon, teams like that, and we go out to them. So, yeah, I think I'm not too bothered who City get because I think in order to be the best, you have to beat the best. So, yeah, but I think Chelsea are probably the team that we know more and are probably more likely to beat out of the two.
Yeah, I mean, I just think of the whole English factor, right? Of we played Liverpool, played Tottenham. Tottenham again, we're clearly a better team over at least the second leg, and we went out because of moments. And Champions League is all about what? It's all about moments. It's all about moments. You could play well for 80 minutes, and in one moment the game just goes away, and that's it, right? Many times. Score predictions. Kyle, what do you think the score is going to be on the first leg on Tuesday?
I'm thinking 2-0 win Atletico, and I'm going to say Suarez with 2 goals because it's an absolute mesmerising start. 16 goals and 25 shots on target, which that's just phenomenal. Yeah, I think Tuchel's going to get his first loss. They were very poor against Southampton, and I thought Minamino absolutely ran them riot. He was amazing for Southampton, and I think if Chelsea play against Suarez, Joao Felix, you can't allow them kind of players with shots, can you? So I'm going 2-0.
Yeah, I think that the Suarez, especially Joao Felix angle, is one that because his movement is just really, really good, especially against the back three or
you have to be clinical, Chelsea as well.
Yeah,
because of Oblak's for me the best keeper in the world, and Werner has to take this chance. He's been missing. He misses so many chances, and you can't. A team like Atletico aren't going to allow you with that amazing defense 5-6 chances a game. It's going to be limited to 2-3 chances possibly in the whole game.
Does the fact that it's not going to be played in Spain, right? Where's it going to be played? It's going to be played somewhere else. Ty, where's it going to be played? The game first leg.
Budapest, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think so. Hungary.
No,
it's not in Spain anyway, right?
Yeah, it's some.
Do you think that's going to affect the result, Janica?
I think I've said this. I think with this season, with so many games being played on sort of neutral grounds, I feel like they should have probably scrapped the rule of away goals. Because it's a little bit unfair if you're both away. And there will be teams this season that are going out on away goals that weren't even away. So, yeah, it's crazy. But, I think... Yeah, I don't know if it'll affect it too much. I think it gives Chelsea an advantage because Atletico are at home. So... They're both away, like I say. And, if Chelsea went and scored 2 away goals and then Atletico went out on away goals, it's a little bit unfair because, or 2-1. So, I don't think it'll affect it too much for Chelsea. I think it gives them a slight advantage, but we'll have to see.
Did you think that the fact that the first leg is away, right? So you go away, Chelsea have the advantage. They get 2 away goals. Then the second leg, even though it's away for Atleti, it's the first leg is already done. You already know the score. You can plan for that. So, what's your score for the first leg?
I feel like Chelsea have been struggling to score like recently. Like a lot of the goals have been like penalties, I think, and stuff like that. So I can't see them really getting more than 1 goal. But I think they will score. I know the Champions League, you get a little bit more space in the Champions League. So I think they will score, but I think it'll be 2-1. I think Atletico will edge it.
So before I go to Ty, I'll talk about. I think it's going to be 2-2, but it's only going to be 2-2 if they play Giroud.
Yeah.
Because Giroud is smart, he's wise, he knows how to hold the ball, and you play him with very quick, wingers, maybe Timo or maybe Callum Hudson-Odoi on the side. I think they can get at least 2 goals because Giroud is clinical. If they play Tammy, it's going to be a long night. Because I don't think Tammy, in my opinion, I don't think Tammy is good enough for Chelsea at the very elite level. I think that Giroud, he may be slower, but that's a European kind of game. I think if they play him, they can score 2 goals. I think that Atleti probably score 2 as well. So I'm going for a 2-2 draw, which still keeps the tie open. Ty, what do you think?
So I'm gonna go. I mean, I understand the 2-1 and the 2-2 prediction. If I wasn't a Chelsea fan, I probably would have agreed with you guys. But I'm gonna go on something I call hopium, which is something I hope that it happens. I'm gonna go with a 2-1 away win. I said something last week that when players like Timo have space behind the defense, they play much better than they would in England. That's why they're much more successful in Bundesliga than in England. So I've watched Atletico. They're very organized, but they do leave a lot of space behind. Yes, and I do agree with Kyle that we should start play Giroud over Tammy and play Timo on the left side. The question is, who do you play on the right side? Do you go with Odoi? Do you play with Ziyech or Kai? I don't know what that would do. But with a 3-5-2, then you go with Giroud and Timo up front, so it gives us a chance to really, really stretch that defense. With that said, my score prediction would be 2-1. My hopium score prediction would be 2-1 Chelsea away in Romania.
Romania.
Okay.
Not, with Atletico.
Spain.
Yeah. Not in Spain yet.
We have some comments coming through. Martin says, I'm not talking about the Champions League. Yes, I am, Martin. I'm talking about the Champions League. Have some friends up here as well. Maybe next time you can join us and talk about it as well. Says he's only kidding. So Ty with a 2-1 for Chelsea. Yannicka goes 2-1 for Atleti. And Kyle goes 2-0 for Atleti. So I think it's an interesting, fascinating game. If Chelsea do win, I think it's going to give them momentum going into not just the second leg, but also their game against United at the weekend, because that's going to be a cracker. Okay. Bolu says that it's going to be a tough game. I think he may end up in a draw. Yeah, that's what I said as well. And if you're online,
Bolu is also a Chelsea fan, so he's not.
Bolu is also a Chelsea fan. Yeah. Again, if you're online, if you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, send us a comment. We'll talk. We'll mention your comment back. Again, this is just me with friends talking about football, the game we love. We're Grace with Yannicka, smart lady, beautiful lady here, a Carl and Everton fan, and my Chelsea buddy forever from Maryland in the USA as well. Let's switch over to City. I want to switch over to City and Yannicka. So there's this, the City fan base is growing, right? Yeah. It's growing every single day. It's growing. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And with that growth comes all kinds of voices, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes and it's a good thing to have fans grow from India, from the US, from England, from Nigeria, from all over the whole world. We're growing best. With success comes growth, right? And it's almost as if the old City fan. I've always said you have to respect the past and embrace the future.
Yeah. Learn
about the club, know what the club stands for. I'm always asking you about the club. Hey, what does this mean? Why are there so many ex-players here? Why is it that certain players don't like? What's going on? So I'm learning from you. I'm learning from Martin. I'm learning from a whole group of people.
Yeah.
But there's a strange relationship with the Champions League and City, right? Can you explain to us what it is and why we new fans, I mean, 12 years, 13 years in now, what we have to understand about it?
I think the Champions League, like a lot of City fans are not a big fan of it. Not saying that they wouldn't want to win it, because obviously everyone wants the club to win everything. Like that is, the ultimate goal is to win every competition that we're in. But I think with the Champions League, it's a few different things, because for me, I've never booed the anthem, but a lot of our fans will. And obviously it's the whole thing about UEFA, a bit corrupt, the way they are. I think when City first got in the Champions League, we'd always have the group of death. Like we would always have a Barcelona, a Real Madrid, a Bayern Munich, and sometimes two of them teams. And it's like we got a hard group, and the way the seeding is like even if we won the league, we still had harder teams than like a Tottenham, who might finish fourth. And City were kind of like, City fans were like, why are we getting a harder group than Tottenham? And stuff like that. So I think it started with that. And then there was the whole thing about that trip to
Ukraine.
CSKA Moscow. Yeah. And everyone booked tickets. They booked their hotels. They booked everything to go. And about a week before, it wasn't long before, they basically said that the game was going to be played behind closed doors because the CSKA Moscow fans had been racist, and that was it. They were going to play behind closed doors. So a lot of the City fans couldn't get a refund. So it's like they've lost their money. So a lot of people thought, well, we'll go anyway because, you know, we've spent the money. And basically, when the game was played, there was about 1,000, if not more, fans in the stadium that were from CSKA and Moscow. And obviously they were reporters and journalists and all this stuff, but they were their fans. So they had fans in after telling City fans that they couldn't go. And it's just little things like that. Like, you know, if you're going to accuse a club of being racist, what you should do is have the opposition fans there to punish them. But it was like no fans at all, but then they had their fans. So just little things like that City aren't fond of. The whole thing with us getting banned is just one thing on top of the other. And I think it's just a mix of everything together. I think City fans just aren't very happy. Yes, they would win it, but it just seems VAR now. There's so many things that have just come in the way for City that it's just like, it's almost like they don't want us to win it and they'll do anything to stop us from winning it. And I don't know. It's not great.
It's a difficult one because I have this opinion that I respect what's happened in the past. I know this. You said, I know the story of what happened in the past with CSKA, the booing, the whole UEFA issue. I followed it well last year. Ty and I talked about it, at length about. We know how the underpinnings work.
Yeah.
But like in everything else, there's always a price you pay for ascension to the elite, even in life, even at work, right? There's a way you have to almost earn your right to be there, if you would, right? And sometimes you do it on the pitch, sometimes you do it off the pitch, right? But it's a price you pay. Well, once you get there, you now become part of the club, if you would, and then you now begin to enjoy that. Do you think we've got to that point where the club itself has now gone through the gauntlet of that win at CAS, and that's kind of opened up at least the semblance that, okay, now the club is within the royalty of European, even though we haven't won yet, at least we accepted.
Yeah. I'd say City are always kind of favourites for the Champions League, which to me is quite weird because we haven't won it. As good as we are, we haven't won it. So I don't think you can truly be favourites for something that you have never won before. That's just the way I see it. I get maybe in the Premier League, if a team come up and it's like, oh, they're amazing, they could win it. But yeah, you're not normally favourites. So it's a little bit strange, but I think City are just taking steps in the right direction. For me personally, I think it's a case of when, not if, we win it. So I don't know when that'll be. My dad always says you normally get to a final and lose before you win the Champions League. Like we saw it with Chelsea. They lost first, then they went and won it. Atletico Madrid have been to a final and lost. So they're a good shout for this year. PSG last season, same thing. And I think that's what makes, for me, PSG and Atletico have to be favourites because they've already been there and kind of failed. So I expect them to go there and win the next time round. So I think for City, we just need to at least get to a final. That's what we need to do. And then if we don't win it, we go again. But we need to kind of put ourselves in that sort of elite Champions League bracket, which we're not in right now because we kind of fall short. And, PSG were the same. PSG didn't even get to a semi-final. They went straight from going out of the quarters every time at best to going straight to a final. So they didn't actually, their first semi-final, they won. So I think PSG are kind of getting in that conversation now. I think City need to do the same. So yeah, I don't think we'll win it maybe this season. I hope we do. I hope we just go straight through to the final and win. but I think we need to at least be getting to a final, or at least into a semi first. Yeah.
I would agree. So, Cal and Ty, let's talk about the opposition. I've done some research on Borussia Mönchengladbach. Cal, and Ty, anything you want to say about the opposition that you know about?
I know let me just get where I've spoke about them. They've got, again, 2 wins in the last 6. They're a very good side, and again, I don't think you can count for them going into the Champions League for me, because it's not like the Prem, is it, or the Bundesliga or any league. It's 2 teams that are determined to win a different competition, but they've got a phenomenal attacking partnership of Play and Thuram, Marcus Thuram, and also Stindl. And Stindl can play as a number 10. He can play in midfield. Play can play on the left, and him and Thuram do a very alternative switch up, where a bit like what Drogba and Anelka used to do back in the day, where we can alternate as a number 9 as on the wing. But the phenomenals. Play has 9 goals with Thuram with 6. Thuram's dropped off, but something City should watch out for is how good Borussia Mönchengladbach centre-back partnership is between Matthias Ginter, who was linked with I think it was a £49 million move with Liverpool, and Manchester United, and I think it was Bayern as well, and Elavedi, a Swiss centre-back as well. And like I said, a dangerous connection, but a big drop-off from the front three from last year. Thuram got 15 goals, I think, in all competitions. Plea got, I think, 16. So Plea's almost there, but it's a big drop-off. And also, something I've said is they haven't won a game since their manager was officially left to join. He's leaving, is he, in the summer to join Dortmund? That can always go 2 ways, can't it? Where he leaves with the motivation of, I want to win the biggest competition in world football here for the club and for the fans, or it just absolutely falls apart. He loses his head. The players don't want to play for him. But I think they're a good side. They're very good. They've caused some upsets. They beat Dortmund 4-2. I think Haaland scored in that game, but they nullified Haaland perfectly. But they're a good side. But it's all up. For me, City are the best team in the world at the moment. You don't look like you can get beat. It's like an 18 unbeaten streak, isn't it? You just don't.
Yeah. So, I'm going to come to you and talk about what the weaknesses are that City, that Mönchengladbach can expose from City. But when I looked at some of the games, I looked at all the games from Mönchengladbach in the Champions League group stages. They played Real Madrid, Inter Milan, I think Shakhtar Donetsk. So they played some really difficult teams. And what I noticed was that Denis Zakaria is fantastic. Marcus Thuram is a killer in the box. Play is fantastic. Lars Stindl, Embolo is also good. They play really beautiful one-touch football. They're great at second balls, which is a weakness of ours, or was a weakness of ours, right? Really good second balls. They're great at corners. They can head the ball really well, right? If you make a mistake in the final third, they will punish you.
Yeah,
they will absolutely ruin you. If you make a mistake in the final third, they'll ruin you. But they concede goals, right? They can get starstruck, right? They are kind of like a deer in the headlights against Real Madrid the final day. They're weak in the air, right? Their fullbacks can be got at. So their fullbacks can be got at a lot. But you have to bully them, you have to counter-press them, and you have to be clinical. Because if you lose the ball in transition, they will punish you. They are really, really good transition team. Ty, how can they hurt City?
So City's a favorite because of the performance in the last few games has been brilliant, right? And but what City has to watch out for is these German teams. We sat here last week and say, I think I can't remember correctly, but I think we all picked Seville to beat Dortmund. And look at what happened in that game. Dortmund could have easily beat Seville 4-1, 5-1, and really, really run away with it. And it's the same thing when you play these German teams. You have to really, really prepare to play 90, 95 minutes straight without making a mistake. If City makes any mistakes in the back, they're going to make you pay. They have the ability to make you play. They have the players that have the pace, and they can really, really make you pay. With that being said, obviously, I still think City will win the game, both legs, but you have to really, really pay attention. I think as a coach, I think it's going to be one of those very frustrating days for Pep. They're coming in as the underdog. They don't really care about what they've done. And when it comes to German teams and what they do in the league and what they do in Champions League, it doesn't really seem to correlate. It's like they come into Champions League to have fun. In their league, they play with stress, with attention to details and everything. And they're like, oh, finally we go to Europe. Let's go have fun, boys. And that's the way I see them. So City's got to be careful. I still think they're going to win. Like you say, one of the things they're really good at is set plays. And you guys got to be, City's got to be really, really small set plays. So they might get a goal or two on set plays, but overall, the quality of what you guys have should be able to, beat them.
Yeah. Yinka just says, if Haaland and Messi both go to City next season, watch out. We'll talk about Haaland towards the end, Yinka, so please make sure you hold on, because the discussion we need to have about Haaland and Mbappe, because I know Chelsea fans are looking at him, we're looking at him, United looking at him, everyone's looking at him, Real Madrid. We'll talk about him. Bolu says City will have to work for them. And I agree, Bolu, because, BMG, Mönchengladbach, I watched them all night last night, all their games, and I like how they play. They're really good in transition. If you make a mistake, you lose the ball, they will counter press you, win the ball, and go for his goal. They're really quick on the ball. So, Yannicka, let's talk about this. Yinka says Man City will be against Gladbach as long as Pep doesn't overthink and try to play KDB has to go.
That's why I say it could be a very frustrating game for a coach.
But, Yannicka, do you think that the Liverpool game, the fact that Pep didn't overthink that game, maybe it's helping him to realize that, look, let me just play the best players in form, in the right position throughout the competition? Do you think it's going to help him?
Yeah, I think Pep's kind of looks like he's learnt his lesson a little bit. Last season, we leaked a lot of goals. Obviously, we didn't have Laporte. Obviously, we didn't replace Kompany. But in general, we leaked a lot of goals. And I think Pep kind of changed the system a little bit to make us a little bit more comfortable defensively. Obviously, got Diaz in. Stones has come back to full fitness and stuff like that. So I think he's kind of already made some improvements. And I think with City, what our problem was in Europe, like I always say, is we leak too many goals. So right now, the way we're playing, we don't leak goals. We can win 1-0 when we need to win 1-0, which City never used to be able to do that. So obviously it will depend how the game goes. But yeah, it seems like from Mönchengladbach's results, even though they win games, they tend to always concede more often than not.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so I think if City can get the first goal, we can defend better than we used to. So I think City would happily probably take a 1-0 if they can, So, but like you say, we'd have to not make any mistakes. So I think we probably need about 2-3 goals just in case. Because I know Bayern Munich were beating them 2-0, and they actually beat Bayern Munich 3-2. So yeah, they've shown that they can come back against the best. So yeah, we'll have to see, and hopefully Pep doesn't overthink it. But I don't think the way Pep's played this season, he tends to put out the strongest team, whoever he plays. So I can see him putting out a really strong team.
Right. There's an article today, I think it was in one of the papers in England, somebody wrote about the fact that the influence of Juan Lillo on Pep, how he's helped him with decision-making, things that he doesn't see, keep him calm. I think the influence of Juanma over the past year or so has been massive in terms of our defensive structure. I heard as a defensive coach, has been really massive in helping us become more solid defensively. But talking about defense, I'll let Carl, Yannicka, and Ty look at what I put as a formation for the game on Tuesday. Let me know what you think. Can you see the screen? You see it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we see it.
Yep.
So I've gone with this. So, people think we play a 4-3-3. And I talked about this with Carl and also Ty a lot of times. We actually play average positions, a 3-2-2-3, where you have this Cancelo playing this right fullback kind of midfield role with Rodri in the middle. Then you have a midfield two of Gundo or KDB, and then the front three of Jesus, Sterling, Mahrez, or Varane.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's gonna stay with the three of Foden as Laporte, Diaz, and Stones. So who would you guys change at the back 3 or 4 against Mönchengladbach?
Do you know what? I don't know if he will put Zinchenko in to get their fullbacks over Laporte, but I do prefer Laporte sort of as a left back ish, just because I think as a defender, it makes us very tight at the back because we've got 3 proper defenders on the pitch. Whereas Zinchenko, as good as he is, and as good as he's been for us, he's not a natural defender. So I think if we are going to have a very good attacking player, then Laporte makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. With Pep, you never know who he's going to play.
That's a weird thing. You just never know. I mean, this whole debate about Stones, Cancelo and Walker, it's an interesting debate because they're two different players who play the same position but in a different way. Does he start Cancelo at right back instead of Walker, or is he resting Walker for Mönchengladbach back?
I hope that he's going to play Cancelo, because as much as I like Walker, he has a mistake in him and always has a mistake in him. And I think if we're playing against a team that are going to punish us if we make one mistake, I wouldn't trust Kyle Walker to go a whole 90 minutes without making a mistake. So...
Yeah, Yannicka, you mentioned a really interesting point. I was talking to my missus yesterday, watching the games, and I noticed that Kyle Walker's mistakes, remember the Leicester game, the penalties?
Yeah.
Most of his mistakes, he makes it when he's close to the 18-yard box on the right side. He kind of gets stuck like a deer in the headlights, not knowing what to do, and then makes a mistake. Watch his games again, the mistakes he makes. He seems to get stuck in that right side near the 18-yard line where it's close there. He either hands off or he puts a leg in or does something. So that's an interesting observation of Kyle Walker, but defensively he's quicker. Yeah. But then with the ball is where he kind of struggles, I think, in this new system that we play. Ty and Kyle, the midfield, who would you change in that midfield trio? Rodri, Gundo, Foden, or KDB?
I'd take KDB out because I thought today, obviously you need game time, don't you, when you come back from an injury, but I thought today, I even said it to you, Carl, I thought he was very rusty, but, you know, I think for me, I'm just going to put up some stats here. Your last 6, you've won 6 on the bounce. Well, that's like 13 on the bounce. But in your last 6, 4 of them are possible top 7 contenders. You've beat Spurs, Liverpool, Arsenal, and you beat us. So, in a sense, you're absolute fire, aren't you? But again, yeah, Gundogan is on like 13, 14 goals. He started the season like blooming Lee Cattermole and turned into blooming prime Xavi inside 3 months. So I don't know what's going on with him.
Lee Cattermole to Xavi.
Yeah, so again, I think that 3 midfield, they can't really change it, can you? I think it'll be Rodri, Gundogan, and Phil Foden, to be honest.
You think that he's going to play Bernardo? He's going to leave Bernardo out because of the games he's played? He's played this today. He played 3 days ago. He played 3 days ago. You think he's going to play him or keep him out for the game?
I think he's going to keep him out and play KDB. He took him out early today. Today. I think it's resting Walker, for Champions League game. So I think KDB is going to play. And again, from a coaching perspective, I think he's a player that you really, really trust more than everybody else. So if you don't want him to overthink it, that's who he's going to go to, not to overthink the game.
Interesting. Yeah. What about the front three? Who are the front three?
That's where it gets interesting, right? Because for me, Sterling is going to play. He's going to start for sure, right? Sterling has earned it. But do you play Foden and Jesus? Or do you bring Aguero in? What's the situation with Aguero?
Yannicka, want to talk about Aguero?
They said that he was back because obviously he came back and then he got COVID and then he was out again. And then he's been back, as in he's in the squad, he's on the bench, but we haven't seen him play. What I did say earlier when I was speaking to one of my friends is I said, with Aguero, normally his first sort of 2-3 games when he comes back, he's not very effective. Like, he doesn't tend to score. Like, it takes him a little while to get back into the swing of things. So I think in the league, because it's so, I know people are saying, the league's over, but 10 points is not a lot, really. Considering there's 39 points to play for, it's not a lot. And I think we can't really afford to bring Aguero in to certain games where we need to win. So I don't know if he's going to bring him in. I can't see it in a Champions League knockout. I really can't. I think what he will do is, say, for example, Man City go and beat Mönchengladbach 3-0. He'll probably play the second leg because the risk factor is not as high.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe if we're 3-0 up, he'll bring him on. I don't know, but I think City. I don't think he's going to risk him sort of starting a game like this. I just can't see it. I think he'll come on as a sub at best.
I mean, Yannick and Carl, the fact that Champions League allows 5 substitutions, right? So instead of 3, you have 5.
Yeah.
Does that open the gate, the window for Aguero to have some minutes come Wednesday?
Yeah. I feel daft now, Jan, because I've put the front 3 as, and I know Carl won't like this. I've said Mahrez on the right, Torres on the left, and I've said Sergio as a striker because I think this is a perfect game to put him in, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I think, for me, I think they leak goals, leak goals. I think I don't think you want to be playing players. I know Sterling's incredible, but for me, I think Sterling can have 4 or 5 chances in a game that he misses. But I think Sergio's just, he can score from anything. He can have his back turned to the goal and score a bloody scorpion kick or something. He's that good. So I think you'd play him. And I think Mahrez, to be honest, has been pretty good recently. And I think Torres hasn't really played recently, so I think it's probably good to give him some time.
Yeah. I mean, last point about this before we go on to the next 2 games real quick. Ferran's record in the Champions League is pretty good. I think he's the highest scorer or second highest scorer for us in the Champions League. He's deadly in the Champions League. He takes his chances. So I think he's going to start. And I do think that Foden is going to start ahead of Gundo because of the injury, getting ready for the weekend against West Ham. But we'll see what happens. We never know what Pep's going to do. I mean, he's like Tuchel, right? You never know what they're going to do with formations. These guys sometimes overanalyze things, but it's certainly going to be an interesting game.
I'm a big fantasy player, but I stay away from City players because I don't know who Pep is going to play. So I don't touch City players. I had Stone for a while, but I'm like, nah, I'm done. And then he benched out, like, that's it.
Okay, so first,
I'd love to see Aguero, though. I miss Aguero so much. I would love to see him. But I think Ferran Torres has been, like you say, and I think he's been, at the start of the season when everyone else was struggling, he was our most clinical player.
Yeah.
So if they leak goals, Ferran will get a goal. So, I would play him. I would play Foden because Foden got rested today. And, Pep, Foden's like Pep's favourite player at the moment. So, I think definitely.
Especially in the Champions League. So let's talk about scores real quick. Well, first leg scores for the Wednesday game for City. Yannicka, what do you think it's going to be?
I don't know. Are we at home or away first? Because I know it's
we're away. We're away.
We're hungry.
I'd say maybe a 2-1 City. I don't think we're going to go there and blow them away, but I think we'll win. We tend to do okay away in the Champions League. So 2-1 City. I'm hoping for, to be honest.
Yannick raised a very good point before, in fact, because she said that about the scoreline with Bayern. They do seem to pick up against the big teams, but the last 3 losses have been against teams in the bottom 3 or the bottom 4. So they don't really turn up. I'm going for a 3-0 City win, and I'm going to put my heart out here and say I think Gundogan's going to get 2. I think he's going to start, and I think he'll get 2. And I think Riyad Mahrez will score a worldie like he did at Goodison, sadly.
Yeah. Ty, what do you think it's going to be?
I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I see 5 goals in that game.
Jesus.
I don't see Gladbach not scoring. They're going to get at least 1 or 2. So, do I go with 3-2 or 4-1 to be on the safe side? I go with 3-2. There's going to be at least 5 goals. I'm expecting a lot of goals in that game.
Yeah. I think it's going to be 2-0. I think City will win 2-0. I think that's
going to be 2 goals.
Yeah, I think that's Stones. I think what we've learned for the past couple of months is City seem to win in a different way. Unlike the last years, I think we're more cautious. If you notice, most of the balls of possession is within the back 4 on the halfway line. If we can't penetrate, we keep the ball. We keep the ball between Stones and Diaz. Then Stones steps in. I think it's going to be 2-0 to City, which will be a good scoreline to bring back for the second leg. But I could be wrong. It could be, as Ty says, 5-2, 5-3, which I'll still take anyway. Okay? Well, Yika says it's going to be 3-1 to City. We'll take that any day because we have so many games coming up. Okay, the last 2 games we want to talk about real quick. It's another game that we can't watch because I'm watching City, but I would love to watch this game because I just think this is the matchup of the round. Apart from that, let's go Chelsea. It's Atalanta versus Real Madrid. I mean, I'm in love with Atalanta, not as much as I love City. I love Atalanta because of the way they play. And Ty knows this. I've talked about them so many times. We played them 2 years ago It's just a massive game, Carl. I mean, what do you think about this game?
I think it's a phenomenal game of football, to be honest. I think Atalanta are sensational. For me, they've got the second best Italian manager in the world, obviously behind Carlo Ancelotti. But they play, like I've said here, they play a great attacking system, fluent. They play about 95 formations in the first half every game. They switch up formations just for the fun of it. But I've said that they beat Liverpool. When Liverpool was on a good run. I think they were top of the league, and obviously beating Liverpool's easy. My team's done it because we're sick. Obviously, no, I'm only joking. But yeah, Atalanta beat them. And they've won 3 in the last 6. Muriel is having a banger of a season. He's on 16 goals. He's dangerous. Zapata's dangerous. And Illich, something I've said, though, when it comes to the cons is they're very vulnerable on the counter. We saw that because Liverpool beat them 5 or 6-0. And something I've said is Martin Deroon, I think that's his first name, I don't know. Yeah. Is for me the most crucial player in Atalanta's system, in Gasperini's system, because it's so attacking. They need that brick in midfield, that player that's just a bit more defensive, and he breaks everything up. And when he didn't play against Liverpool, they fell apart. But another is a drop in Ilicić's contributions. He's only got 9 goal contributions this season, and he was the player of the season, not officially, but from a lot of journalists said he was the player of the season in the Serie A, and some said even in the Champions League. I think he scored 4 goals against Valencia last year in the Champions League. And obviously, I just want to touch on Madrid, if that's okay. I've said that they're on stunning form, that they've 5 and 6, world-class defence in Varane, Courtois and Ramos with Mendy, very fluent system as Zidane. They've won the Champions League 3 out of the last 5, which was 3 on the bounce. Yeah, Benzema's top scorer for them with 17, and then it's a huge drop-off. Possibly one of the biggest drop-offs in goals. And then it's Modric with... Casemiro was 6, and then Modric with 4. And for the biggest con for me is they're just missing Ronaldo.
Yeah. Yannick, what do you think about this game? If this game wasn't the same day as City, would you watch this game because of Atalanta and Real Madrid?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because Atalanta, obviously we've seen how good they were when we played them. Obviously we did beat them, but yeah, they against Liverpool as well last season, and yeah, they've been a great team. Real Madrid in Europe tend to pull results out at times. But yeah, I honestly don't know which way this is going to go. The only thing that I would say is that with Madrid, we've seen them win games before. But saying that, we knocked them out last year. So yeah, I think Atalanta have a good chance, to be honest. Real Madrid aren't doing great in the league right now. They're doing okay. Obviously, I think they're closest to Atletico. But yeah, I think I don't know whether they'll win La Liga because it kind of looks like Atletico might win it. So they might go for the Champions League because that's where they tend to do well. But yeah, Atalanta look good. So I think it'll be an interesting game.
Fantastic. So Ty, wrap it up for us. I mean, with score predictions and what you think about this game, what's going to happen there?
Outside of Chelsea in Spain, Real Madrid is my team. So with that said, I think Atlanta is going to win the first leg for sure. Right now, Real Madrid is missing a lot of players. I don't know if you saw the game yesterday. Carvajal is out. Marcelo is out. Hazard stays out. Varane is injured. Ramos is injured for a few weeks.
Wow.
Who else? Name it all. They're all out.
Benzema's out too, right?
Benzema's out. Yeah. So I looked at the bench yesterday at the game. I only know 3 players. The rest of them are guys that move up from the second team. So this is Atalanta's chance to get a big win and a big goal ahead of the second leg. So, my score, I will say 2-1 Atalanta because Real Madrid is missing so much quality to injury. They have no business winning the game. We have no business winning this game, to be honest. If Real Madrid wins, I'll be shocked.
It's Real Madrid. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. Yannick, score, what do you think is going to happen?
Based on that, if all them players are out, then I think Atalanta will win. They like scoring 3 goals or 3 or 4. So I think it could be like a 3-1 to Atalanta if Real Madrid don't have their key players.
Yeah.
You know.
And Kyle, we know that Atalanta concede goals. They get back into
Yeah.
goals. Do you see Real Madrid winning this game, or do you think, as we
Yeah,
all
I
do, that
see. I
Atalanta will
see
win it?
Madrid winning it. To be honest, I think even with injuries, they've still got a phenomenal team, haven't they? And when Atalanta played against the Shite, I think Curtis Jones played, and I'm pretty sure Nico Williams played as well, and Diego Jota. So you know what I mean, and they conceded to them, but yeah, I think Madrid are going to win 3-0. I think 3-1. Sorry, I think Madrid are just too much, and I think Atalanta. I think you can't. I think the only problem with Gasperini is it's okay to play attacking football all the time, but you need to have a plan B. You know, if the attacking football is not going to work, you've got to sometimes play defensive and sometimes park the bus in a system. It's boring, but it's going to get you results. And he doesn't like doing that. He likes to just fight and attack the teams, and it's fun for us, but it's not fun for the system against such a good side like Madrid. I'm going 3-1.
Okay, good. Before we talk about Haaland, there's one more game: Lazio versus Bayern Munich. Any chance for Lazio in this game?
Nope. Nope. No chance.
Even with Bayern's form that's been patchy of late, and they have Inzaghi to play, Immobile, Milinkovic, Savic, the coach Inzaghi. You think no chance for them at all?
No chance. Dominic is going to outpace them, outpass them in every way. No chance. I can give him my score prediction right now. 4-1.
Go ahead. Might as well.
4-1.
Yannicka?
Yeah, I can't see anything other than Bayern Munich. I'd say 3-1 maybe.
Okay.
Just because of Bayern's form right now not being at its best. But yeah, I think it's an easy win for them.
Carl?
I don't even know, to be honest. I think everyone. I don't know if you've watched Lazio or Bayern, but I watch the Bundesliga every week. I'm quite a big fan of it. And like I said before, form's not a thing, but they've got a few players missing. Thomas Muller got coronavirus 2 weeks ago, and I don't think he'll be back. And they've been playing Choupo-Moting, and for me, that agent deserves some sort of an award. I don't know how he's at Bayern Munich, mate. I really don't. And he's been playing as a number 10 as well. And he's crap at striker, so I don't know how he's as a number 10. And he lacks pace, he lacks creativity. And another big point that I've said is Bayern haven't been creating from the fullbacks this year. Last year, Alphonso Davies was absolutely sensational. He was that good that he made Nelson Semedo go from Barcelona to Wolves inside 6 months. That's how good he was. And now they use Nicolas Soule there against in the last game, which they lost against Frankfurt, and he got absolutely exposed with his lack of pace. Something I've said is Lewandowski's bloody hell. He's probably the best striker in the world, and 30 goals he's got, but only 3 in the UCL. He got 15 last year. Kimmich has got over 15 goal contributions this year already. He got 24 last year. But something I've said is, you asked me to talk about Sane, didn't you? And I think Sane has had his stats look all right, but they're going to Bayern. He's had a very poor start. He can't really get in over Coman or Gnabry. And they even choose to go as a 5-back at times this season, not even put Sane on the wing. I'm going, and obviously with Lazio, they've got Immobile, he's phenomenal. But Luis Alberto he's been awful this year. I wanted him at Everton. We were linked with him. Even though he played for the Shite, he is good. He's very good. And Milinkovic Savic is good as well, but I'm going to go with 2-1 Bayern.
Fantastic. Okay, good. Let's talk about the big elephant in the room, the man that everybody wants, that I'm scared to mention because I've been heartbroken with Jorginho, with Alexis Sanchez. Haaland, probably the most exciting young striker probably in world football right now. Him and Mbappe right now, between both of them. Who gets him? What does he do? If you're his father, I mean, where does he go? Yannicka.
Okay.
Hopefully, Man City. I want him so bad. The thing is, I'm not going to be heartbroken because at the end of the day, with City, they've wanted players before and we haven't got them. But yeah, I'd love him. He has the only difference between him and other players that you mentioned is he has ties to Man City, whereas a lot of these players, we're trying to convince them to come based off, we're City, this is our project, this is blah, blah, blah. Whereas Haaland has watched Man City win their first trophy and in 44 years, he's seen that with his own eyes. So, people like to say all the time that, he doesn't support City. He says he's a Leeds fan and he says he's this and that. Haaland, I don't know if you know, but he was born in Leeds, so technically he's English on paper. But yeah, he has that sort of connection with Man City. And yeah, someone posted a video today, and he's like training in a Balotelli shirt a few years ago, and stuff like that. So he has got a connection with Man City. So it's whether Man City can convince him to come to City or not. Because I think if we offer him a contract and say a Chelsea offer him a contract, he has more reason to join City than he would to join Chelsea, just based off the contract if they're the same. So it would be either City refusing to pay what he wants, or him getting a better offer from somewhere else, or a better, I don't know, like they can guarantee him more than City can. But yeah, I would love to have him. I would love.
I mean, it's
to his dad.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it's interesting because we have two clubs, Chelsea. I think in the United is also an outlier, right? You have three clubs, United, Chelsea, and City, who clearly need number 9s. There's no doubt, right? United have what Cavani, who's not bad. He's a good guy, right? But he's what, 34, 35 on a 1-year contract. He's probably going to leave, right? So there's a gaping hole because Martial's not a number 9. I don't get it. You know, he's not. Jesus is better than Martial, in my opinion. So is Tammy and even Giroud, in my opinion, right? You have City, who Aguero's, final months of his contract, he probably is going to end up leaving, or if they renew it. You have Chelsea, who clearly need a number 9. I mean, Tammy, for me, is not the elite, right?
No.
Giroud is getting old. So you have 3 clubs. And you have Real Madrid with, Benzema, who is also getting old. 4 clubs. Don't forget, Barcelona can't afford him anyway because they're broke. Yeah. But you have 3 or 4 clubs that clearly need a number 9. So it's going to become a bidding war, and Dortmund is basically going to cash in. How much will this kid cost, Ty?
I don't see him going for less than 75 to 100 mil pounds. That is, and I think Chelsea is going to break the bank to get him, because we know Chelsea is not going to get Mbappe, right? That's between City and everybody and Real Madrid, to get Mbappe. So we have to go for Haaland. It's young. We have the German connection with Tuchel, at the elm. So that should work. I think Chelsea is probably going to. They'll probably be willing to go up to 120,000 pounds. I mean, 220 million pounds. Because it's much needed. Like you say, Tammy is our best young number 9, but it's not what we really, really need. He's trying, but it's just not there. We have a couple players that we can sell. We have a bunch of players on loan. We can get rid of Batshuayi. We can spend 120 on Haaland, get 20, 30 for Batshuayi, Loftus-Cheek, a bunch of other players that we can use as a swap to kind of recover that money that we spent on him. I am worried about the City connection with Haaland, right? I think he has a good connection with him. If City makes a good play, he may go. But I'm glad that our physical Chelsea location is in London, because most players, if you tell them, do you want to go to Manchester or you want to stay in London, they want to stay in London. And, so it could go either way, but I would love for Chelsea to break the bank for him, to be honest. Make a long story short.
Yeah, Kyle, if I come to you, I want to talk about a couple of things. So Charlie says Dortmund said they won't accept less than 500 million. Now, there's a couple of things financially that people need to understand about transfer fees. Whenever a club pays a transfer fee, 100 million for a player, unless they're in Spain, there's a release clause. They don't actually pay the 100 million right away. They amortize that loan, that payment, over years. So let's say Haaland is 20, right? Okay. And they give him a 5-year contract. Basically, we're paying 20 million pounds a year for each year to the club in Dortmund. So you're not actually paid 100 million. You amortize it over time. That's how it works. The wages is where the actual issue comes into play, right? And then now the flip side is that Sancho has, I think he has a 15% transfer fee sell-on clause for City, which if United gets him, that 10% will probably be 15, 20 million pounds, which could probably go into the Haaland deal. So it's going to be a very complex arrangement, but I think Charlie's right. I don't think the guy's going to go any less than 100 million pounds, in my opinion.
And I think he's willing to drop 120.
Yeah, so it's going to be a dogfight to get this kid in, because guys, I mean, I imagine this guy, and I've said the reason why City fans, I don't really support. I like Mbappe. I've always said Mbappe is my first choice, but Mbappe is going to be difficult because Mbappe wants Real Madrid, and that's very clear. But imagine Haaland in a City team or Haaland in a Chelsea team. Whatever team he goes to, it's going to be dangerous because this kid gets goals. With the chances these teams create and the lack of finishing we have, both teams have a lack of finishing. This kid goes here. I mean, we're talking about, 20, 30 goals a season. Changes the whole dynamic. Carl, what do you think about this?
I just want to say, it's not fair. This you're all talking about bloody Mbappe and Haaland, and I'm sat here with them and, Josh, as much as I like Josh King, but it's Josh King is my second striker. So I think if anyone should get a striker over here, I think it should be us who gets Haaland on a free. Nah, I think, you look at Chelsea, for me, I think Chelsea have done it once again. They've just thrown money at a problem that they didn't need to do. And I don't think Abramovich will want to do that again. 230, 40 million they spent last summer. That's going to take spending up to close to 400 million again. I think Haaland's over 130 mil. If Coutinho's going for 140 mil, Jesus. You know what I mean? Haaland's worth about 3 billion. If Coutinho's worth 140 mil, you know what I mean? So he's probably going to go for about 150 to 200. He's probably going to break the record, in my opinion, because I think he's, his numbers are astronomical. It's something like 36 goal contributions in 26 games. Yeah. He's absolutely, he is world class. For me, the only two clubs I see really in the race for him is Man United and City. But everyone uses that his dad had a connection, but he also was coached by Ollie. And I know Ollie's awful, but he was coached by Ollie. I don't know what they're called. I don't know where he was in Norway. Yeah, and so he could have that, but maybe they say Liverpool, but for me, I think Liverpool are going to focus on Mbappe, to be honest. Yeah, as much as that scares me, I do think they're going to focus on Mbappe. But I think for Chelsea, I think it'd be stupid for Chelsea to go in for him because they need to sort that back line out. And for me, the only way you can win the title is with a good defense. And if they play with they're going to have an attack of Haaland, Timo Werner, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Ziyech, Abraham, Giroud. They're going to have about 9 players that can play up top. So it's like, you're just digging your own hole there. Where for City, you need a number 9. You need someone that can get you. I know Sterling and Foden and other teams can get you goals, but eventually that gets exposed by, the other managers in the league. And United need a world-class number 9 because Martial's shit. So
I do think Chelsea need a number 9 there because Giroud and Abraham are not it. I mean, clearly, they're not it at all. I think they need a number 9.
Let's be honest. Who are Chelsea going to be to make the funds up off selling? Realistically, to even get close to that kind of funds. And what I'm trying to say is, I don't think he would turn down Chelsea. That's not what I'm saying. Chelsea are a phenomenal club. Been phenomenal the last few years. Haven't a few Premier Leagues, won the Champions League a few years ago. But for me, you've got to take into account is, will Abramovich spend again after seeing how Lampard failed? And that's a big risk, spending another 170 just on one player.
Let me ask Ty, but in order to make the sale happen, you're going to have to sell some players, right? And you guys have quite a number of players on loan and also in the second team that you have to sell, right, to make it happen.
So I think next year, this summer, it's going to be very, very interesting. They're going to have to sell a lot of guys. Like Barkley is still there, I don't know why Drinkwater is still on our books. I can give you a list of 12 players off the top of my head. Loftus-Cheek. Even Pulisic is on there. I don't think they're going to sell Pulisic, even though some Chelsea fans think they're going to sell Pulisic. They're not. Pulisic sold the most jersey last year for any Chelsea player. So the money, the financial factor is there. Why I think they're going to keep Pulisic to the whole contract. Now, are we forgetting the Bayern factor in Bundesliga?
That's another factor.
Muller is on his way out the door because he's old. Lewandowski is not a young chicken. So did you guys think that Bayern Munich can just say, you know what, stop all the noise, boom, here we go. That's the release clause.
You know what? It's funny that you say that because that's what I was thinking because every Dortmund player who is half decent needs to go to Bayern Munich. So and Lewandowski is obviously at the end of his career. I think in terms of Haaland to City, if City do get him, because a lot of people are saying he's not really a Pep player. They can't really see him coming in under Pep. And I agree with that, to be honest. As much as I want him myself, I don't know if Pep would look at him like I want him, as much as I want him myself. But that being said, like Aguero is on 300. I think he's on 350 a week or something like that. Like he's on quite a lot of money. So him leaving pays Haaland's wages basically because he'd probably be on the same. The reason why I want Haaland is because he's 20. He's actually younger than Foden by about 100 days. So, yeah, madness. And like you are guaranteed a minimum of 10 years.
It's quite injury prone though. Haaland does get a few injuries, to be fair, but I think something that we've all forgot is what about Harry Kane? I know he plays for Tottenham, but a lot of people forget. For some.
Do you know what it is with Harry Kane? My issue with Harry Kane is he's 7 years older than Haaland.
Yeah.
And I don't think Haaland costs that much more than him because Tottenham are not going to want to sell him.
Yeah.
If they do sell him, they're going to want over 150 mil. They're not going to sell him for 100 mil. They're going to want to sell him for over. So I think there's probably about 20 million difference, maybe 30 between Haaland, who we have for 15 years, and Kane, who is 28 in the summer, and he's injury prone.
Well, Yannicka, you talk about that, right? So think about, again, the financial piece of this, right? So think about Harry Kane, who's 28, and think of the amortization of Haaland's transfer fee over time.
Yeah.
If Haaland is 20 and he plays till he's, 33, he has 13 years to amortize that transfer fee over, which comes to like 10 million a year, which is cheap, right? You can amortize that over time. Harry Kane, he's 28. He has probably had, 5 years over? That's double the amortization cost every year for him plus the wages.
Yeah.
So it comes down to financials all the way. This is how the business is run. So it's I mean, this kid is probably the hottest property right now in Europe, to be fair.
I think Mbappe is better than him, but it's because we kind of know, like you said earlier, we kind of know where Mbappe is going to end up. I would be surprised if he doesn't end up in Madrid, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I think because Zizi is there, Zidane that is, he idolized Zidane, he's French and Mbappe is French. So I would be shocked if it goes anywhere else other than Real Madrid. So I think Mbappe is still number one as the hottest. I will put Haaland number 2 and Kane number 3 because Kane has got to go somewhere to win something.
Paddy?
What if it's a League Cup?
Look, Harry Kane, I feel sorry for him, Danica and Carl and Ty. I really do feel sorry for the guy because Kane, and what I saw today, and we're wrapping up right now, Bale and Kane and Son, there is no reason on this planet Earth why Tottenham should not be in top 4, and Dele Alli should not be in top 4.
Carl, remember
with Kane, Son, Bale, and Ali, there's no reason. Did you see Bale today?
We had this conversation in the fall, right? Here on this, same pitch point and ABL when Tottenham were in form, and everybody was saying that they have a chance of winning, and I said they don't because of the wow factor of Jose Mourinho. Remember, that was my only reason. It wasn't because they didn't have the players. It's because the person that is going to lead them is done. He does not have it anymore. And now you're seeing it.
I was just, Bale came in today for 30 minutes, Yannicka. I don't know if you watched the game. This guy was unstoppable. And he was just, like, wow. I enjoyed watching him play in the Tottenham side that I despise, right? Because of, the whole Tottenham thing, right? But it was enjoyable watching him play with Son and Kane. I don't understand it, but it is what it is. What's bad for them is good for us, so we'll move on from that. And they won't make top 4 again.
Yeah, true. I think the thing with for a lot of people are just disregarding, and I find it quite weird that everyone's just disregarding that. The thing is, and I know the normal choice of a normal thinking person with a brain would be Haaland, but everyone's forgetting is Messi's out of a contract in the summer, and he's not signing. He's not re-signing at Barcelona, and you've got to think the money he regenerates. In a club is different. And if you're an owner, you're not, you know what I mean? You might think, this guy might give me a few trophies, but you're going to think, oh my God, this money, that's an extra holiday for the family. You know what I mean? That's a few slices of ham on the sandwiches, you know what I mean? So, in a sense, Messi, and everyone's forgetting it, but there's so many good options out there. Even I don't see Mbappe. I don't really see Mbappe leaving because he said he's happy where he is. He said the media are the ones who say I want to leave. He said Madrid's his dream move, but he's happy where he is. So
Well, before we wrap up, Messi's another conundrum that we all have to solve again because, as we know, he's free in summer, and there's a whole debate within City fans around should he come? Is he too old? Should he not come? I think if Messi's available, you get him, in my opinion, because I mean, if Fernandinho could play at 35 and still have an impact in the Premier League, I'm sure Messi can play.
It does worry me though with his leg though, because I think Bale, obviously, I just want to touch on this a little bit. Like you said about Bale, for me, and I don't know if anyone else agrees, I think Bale, I think he was great. But then I think a lot of people blame Zidane for it, but for me, you know what I mean? It's even if you're getting dropped, you shouldn't be going out drinking, having glasses of wine, playing golf. That's not a mentality of a world-class footballer. You know what I mean? You've seen players, John Stones, for example, was dropped, and he's worked his socks off to get back into that team. Yeah. And I don't want to sound like I'm being biased, but James Rodriguez was slated. Everyone was saying, the media, oh my lord, I thought it was Pornhub, the way the media was treating the Gareth Bale signing. Oh, he's brilliant, he's world class, he's this. James Rodriguez has 15 goal contributions this season for Everton.
He's brilliant.
Bale has 2 for Tottenham in the league, 2. So,
yeah. I mean, Bale hasn't played as much though. So,
you guys have a coach that is rational.
I know, but we're playing James in a position that he hasn't played in for since Carlo was at Bayern. We're playing him on the wing. Bale's a winger. You know what I mean? Bale's in his natural position, and for me, I think Bale is one of the main reasons for his downfall. Obviously, Zidane's horrible, isn't he? But you're a professional. Do you know what I mean? You're getting paid 500 grand a week, and you're sitting there on not even trying to play football.
I don't know, Carl. I don't know if it's him. I don't know if it's him. But we have to wrap up soon. Okay, guys.
Sorry, real quick. So players are different, right? You have players that are animalistic, like Ronaldo, that is like all in. He won't even let his kids eat chocolate or drink soda. Then you have players like, for years, Messi was just doing his thing. Like, he was by himself. He didn't really, he enjoyed what he enjoys, and it was like that. So Bale having a love that everybody knows is not a problem. I still think he's the coach. If Bale would have gone to Everton under Carlos Ancelotti, he would have been informed.
Yeah,
it's a totally different story.
I don't know. Because
James was written off by a lot of people, but look at what he's doing now.
Yeah.
Look at you look at a lot of players. Look at Kevin Lewin. So
Anyway,
I just think it's different with Bale, because I think you look at him. I think it's just this is 2 managers now. 2 managers, that have, and even Carlo dropped him at times. You know what I mean? Carlo did drop him, and the manager after Zidane got sacked or left dropped him as well. So that's 3-4 different managers there that have dropped him. And I'm sorry, with me, for someone who, I'm from Liverpool, for God's sake. I'm not from a big city. I'm not from a rich city. So, you know what I mean? I'm not where I live isn't very rich. So, for me, if a football player gets that amount of money, you work your hardest, you work your arse off to stay at the top. And he, for me, has shown weak mentality, in my opinion, and completely dropped off. And you can't be doing that in a football. And I know it sounds controversial, people have different opinion, but I can't respect Bale for the way he's been treating people the last few years. It really annoys me.
Well, football is a lot of opinions. Everybody has their opinions, and it's respected. Yannicka, does Haaland come to City? Does he go stay at Dortmund to finally wrap up? Or does he go to Chelsea? What do you think? What does your heart say? What does your head say?
Oh, my heart says that he joins Man City, but I don't think he will. I think he will probably stay at Dortmund at least another year, and then he'll probably either join Bayern Munich like they all do, or maybe because he's not German, he won't have that attachment to Germany that a lot of these players have, and that's why they go Bayern Munich. So, I think, I'm not sure. I can't see him joining Chelsea, even though they have been heavily linked with him. So, I don't know. I think Mbappe does really suit Real Madrid. That's where I could see Mbappe going when he does leave. I'm not too sure for Haaland. But I'm hoping that he comes to City. Like, I would love to see him.
Ty, wrapping up. How much of a factor does Dortmund not qualifying for the Champions League affect Haaland next year? Because we know he's mad about the Champions League. This kid has his alarm clock in the morning that he wakes up to is a Champions League anthem. Does that affect where he goes?
So with or without Dortmund qualifying for Champions League, I think it's gone this summer. To be honest, I think he was ready for the next challenge. I honestly do. I would be heavily disappointed if it goes to Bayern Munich. I would be pissed. If it goes to Chelsea, hey, I mean, great. If it goes to City, great. But I just don't want him to go to Bayern Munich, period. And not like I have it saying it, but I wouldn't say. But even if Dortmund qualifies to Champions League, they would be stupid not to cash in right now.
Oh, yeah.
Over the next few years, right? Cash in, go look for the next thing. That's what you do best. Go do it. Koulibaly had the same situation last year. I'm like, hey, Napoli should have cashed in last year. Take all that money, go look for the next guy. Sometimes all these opportunities only comes in a time frame. Take it and move on.
Cal, wrapping up with this one, we know that agents affect how things work with players, and we know that his agent is the well-known Mino Raiola. Yeah. We know that his contract ends in 2022. Right now, there's a release clause for $75 million. Is there a chance that Raiola will get him to sign an extension and increase that buyout clause to 125?
I think he'll go this summer, to be honest, Haaland. I don't see him staying. But I think a lot of people are missing out. And I know no one wants them to get them, but I think United are in for a big shot with him because United are getting I think Sancho to United's done this year. I think that deal's done for me. I think that's been done for a long, long time. And I think if Sancho goes to United, Sancho and Haaland are very, very close. You just see that when they play. They have a connection. I don't even know. I don't even know where he's going to end up because there's so many places where he can just go, and it makes sense for him. So, yeah, if I was going to put money on it, I'd say City, to be honest. But I don't know. I just do not know because there's so many big clubs in for him. It's just, what I mean? You've got 3-4 massive world-class clubs in for you, so it's all up to Haaland, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys. I mean, it's going to be a very interesting summer. We have Haaland, we have Mbappe, we have Messi, all potentially available. We have the Euros coming up with England. We have the Olympic Games coming up, and then we start the season again. Then there's a World Cup next year. It's going to be absolutely crazy. It's good for people like you and me who love football, who love sports, who talk. And I want to thank Yannicka for coming on board. It's great to see you and talk to you. I really appreciate not just your views, but your thoughts on the game, your posts. Really brilliant. Thank you for coming on. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Cal Everton fan, congratulations again for beating Liverpool. Now we're 19 points ahead of them. You guys have a shot at top 4. You have to battle us out with Ty, a Chelsea fan for top 4. It's going to be interesting. Thank you for coming on board.
Thanks for having me on. Nice to talk again, Ty. You're a great guy, and yeah, it's nice to meet you, Jan.
Nice to meet you.
And Ty, as usual, thanks, man, for our WhatsApp conversations on football. He's a good buddy, man. We traveled together, went to the World Cup together. Hopefully we'll go to the World Cup again next year, and maybe the Euros, if we're allowed to travel later this year. So until then, thanks for everyone for joining us. Charlie, Yinka, who else joined us today? Lots of people joined us today. Thank you all for joining us. Bolu, we'll see you next time. And hopefully Chelsea win on Tuesday. And City win on Wednesday. Take care.
All right. Thanks, guys.